Ari just said, be funny, please, and I have, like, all this pressure on me now. You're the funny guy. People like you because you're funny.
You totally failed at the order. That wasn't funny at all.
People want to see us together in New Orleans. Is that not what people want to see here for the Sugar Bowl? Bill Landis, Ari Wasserman, Doug Maurice, back from our holiday break. It wasn't really a break. Here for Ohio State and Alabama. Thursday in the Sugar Bowl in the college football playoff semifinal. We've had 2 good days of talking to guys from both teams, offense and defense. So as we're getting closer to the game, guys, who are the players that you... This isn't funny enough. I feel like it's not funny enough.
This is great. There's a gator that just lit up right behind you, and there's Christmas music on in the background, and there's a gator behind you, so we're good.
All right. Who are the guys, who are the players you are most interested to see on Thursday based on the things that people have talked about here since we got to New Orleans? Ari, who are you looking forward to?
Can I do the 2?
You can do 2.
Okay. What am I obsessed with, Doug?
Ladies?
Smokes, yes, that is true. But what am I obsessed with on the football field?
Playmakers?
Who's the best playmaker on the field?
Von Bell.
Von Bell. No, offensive playmakers. I know Von Bell's going to make plays. Von Bell knows he's going to make plays. But this took way too long. I want to see Amari Cooper. He's like the most dominant player that I've ever seen in the last year. I mean, it's incredible. It's just like, to me, if you're Urban Meyer and you go up to Urban Meyer right now and you say, Amari Cooper will have 10 receptions for 121 yards and a touchdown in the game, deal or no deal, don't you feel like it would be a deal?
You'd take a deal because, what, Sammy Watkins had, 16? 16 last year. You take 10.
That's an incredible stat line. And you take it. He's that good. Every game that I've watched him play, we watched Amari Cooper play in the SEC championship game before we walked over in Indianapolis to watch what Ohio State did in the Big Ten title game. I just am infatuated with how good he is. And part of me wonders how far this team's secondary has really come in the last year. Because truth is, they really haven't faced anybody all that great all year. And, I'm not saying they haven't improved, but this is going to be their first real test with a real playmaking threat like Cooper. Which brings me to my next player, Doran Grant. We talked to him about 3 or 4 hours after Cooper spoke, and he kind of chuckled, was relaxed, he smirked. He's like, of course I want to play him. It's just what I'm here for. I'm a senior cap. I've never seen him more confident, more laid back, more chilled out. He really does seem like he's not worried in the slightest. It's going to be a great matchup. I can't wait to see how both react to it.
Good answer, Ari. Bill.
Wow.
Bill, what do you got?
Should time that one? It's like, I think it's Thursday.
He had 2 guys.
I know. My guy is Alabama quarterback Blake Sims, who strangely today didn't seem super excited to be playing in the Sugar Bowl in the college football playoff semifinal. He just seemed. I mean, I know he's not bored, but he kind of seemed that way. Maybe he just didn't want to talk to us today. I can't really blame him. But I think he's interesting because nobody really talks about him. I mean, they talk about Amari Cooper. They probably would talk about T.J. Yeldon more if he wasn't banged up. But nobody really talks about the guy who's now replacing A.J. McCarron, who happens, oh, by the way, to be pretty good. I mean, he throws the ball really well. I think the numbers show that. But what isn't quite shown on the stat sheet is how good of an athlete he is. And Ohio State's defense talked about that a lot today, about comparing him to Braxton Miller, which is pretty lofty praise, I would say, and how he keeps plays alive. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is to see, not so much is he going to rush for 100 yards against Ohio State, because I don't think that's going to happen, but when he is keeping plays alive and if he's running away from Joey Bosa and he's not getting sacked, is Ohio State's secondary going to be able to stick with guys like Amari Cooper or the other receivers who Alabama has, who are also pretty good? I know they don't get a lot of credit either because of Cooper, but can those defensive backs and linebackers stay in coverage long enough while Blake Sims is back there running around, avoiding tackles, and looking to make plays down the field?
Can I add one thing? We have a lot of information here. We're reporting all day. The one thing that I didn't know, I don't think Bill knew, and I'm not sure we haven't talked about it if we're even going to be getting into articles. The one thing I wanted to add about Blake Sims, Lane Kiffin recruited Blake Sims to Tennessee. I believe Sims committed to Tennessee, then flipped to Alabama. Lane Kiffin went to USC, got fired, and now is coaching him at Alabama. Thought that circle was interesting. Not sure if we're going to get in there, and I wanted to add that.
It is an interesting circle. And I think that's very interesting. I can't even remember the guy's name. Michael Brewster, right, was a Virginia Tech quarterback? Brewer. I knew that wasn't.
Brewster was an Ohio State center.
Yeah. Michael Brewster, what's going on, man? he was not super elusive, but he avoided some sacks and made some throws when Ohio State got pressure. I think Ohio State will get pressure, but if they don't get to Blake Sims and he makes plays when he could have been sacked, that's going to be a huge difference in the game. I'm going to say Ezekiel Elliott, because we are talking about this Alabama defense, and I think maybe the biggest question in this game is, how good is this Alabama defense really, especially compared to the typical dominant Alabama defense? I think the answer is a little bit of a cut below. But when you ask Ohio State people, and we ask them, what stands out most about this defense, they say the size on the defensive line and the fact that they can run 8 and 10 guys through there. And Kirby Smart, the Alabama defensive coordinator, also was very impressed with the Ohio State receivers. And he said if they can also run it, that's really going to be a problem. So I think if Ezekiel Elliott gets going and Ohio State's not one-dimensional and they can throw and run, whether or not Ezekiel Elliott can move the ball against that big defensive line, whether it's outside or whether it's breaking tackles, I think it's going to be huge. I think that Alabama defense is going to determine what happens in this game. If they're great, Ohio State might be in trouble. If they're maybe not quite as good as they were the last couple of years, we could have a game. I'm losing my voice. I didn't even go to Bourbon Street yet. Did we go to Bourbon Street yet?
Mom, can you send me the sandals I left in my room?
I went to Bourbon Street for breakfast.
Bill went to Bourbon Street for breakfast. We do not know how to do New Orleans. Anyway, we'll have more coverage. It's media day on Tuesday, which means we get to talk to every player on Ohio State's roster, every player on Alabama's roster. Who knows what we're going to get? But whatever we get, we'll bring it to you here at cleveland.com. So here from New Orleans with our friend the Gator, who's off. We broke him probably. For Bill Landis, for Ari Wasserman, I'm Doug Maurice. Thanks as always for watching here on cleveland.com.